Welcome to Shooting Straight with Brad and David. I'm Brad Carline, your Navajo County attorney, and unfortunately Sheriff Klaus can't join us for this show, but in his place we have Chief Deputy Brian Swanty. Hey Brian, thanks for joining us.
Thank you, Brad, appreciate it.
And our guest this month is Bruce Tucker. And Bruce, what is your role with the Sheriff's Department?
Mr. Carline, thank you very much for having me. Chief Swanty, thank you very much. I'm a Deputy Chief with the Sheriff's Office. I'm the commander over the patrol deputies in Navajo County.
So you're the third in line?
Yes, sir. That would be, I guess, there's other deputy chiefs that also work at the Sheriff's Office, one over the jail administration, and myself, and I have all the patrol deputies under my area of responsibility.
So I gather you have a little bit of experience in law enforcement to be a deputy chief.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir, I do. If you want me to explain, I started in probably 1984 as an explorer for Maricopa County Sheriff's Office.
And what is an explorer?
Well, that's a program that is kind of, back then it was partnership with the Boy Scouts of America. It was an opportunity to kind of learn a career. My career of choice was law enforcement. There are explorers in firefighting and other career choices, but mine was in law enforcement. So I served as an explorer with the Sheriff's Office, learning as a young teenager until I turned 21. When I turned 21, I graduated from community college and went to work in the jail for about 19 months. And then after that, I went to the sworn side, or the deputy sheriff side of the Sheriff's Office, and worked there. Rose through the ranks. As a lieutenant, I retired in 2009. Actually, Mr. Carline, you offered me a job in December 2009, so I retired and moved up here to the White Mountains, to God's country, and stayed here until the last couple months. I think in February I moved over to the Sheriff's Office.
Because they stowed you away.
Well, in theory. I really liked Sheriff Klaus. I went to work for I worked with Sheriff Klaus when he was a detective. Had great respect and admiration. I've known Chief Swanty when he was a Department of Public Safety state trooper. We all worked very well together, and I just looked at the opportunity to go back at regular law enforcement and chose to make that change.
It's a good place for you. I think will use your skills well. But how big is the Sheriff's Department? I don't think most people recognize how big of a department it is.
So the Sheriff's Office is actually, you start breaking it down, it's a very large office. We have a total of 57 sworn positions. That includes the sheriff, of sworn deputies, detectives, what have you. Then our support staff, between dispatchers and administrative staff up front, doing the billing and department records and what have you. There's about a staff of 10 to 12 there. And then over in the jail. The jail is right around 80 to 82, and that includes our medical staff in there as well. So as the Navajo County Sheriff's Office, there's close to 140, 150 folks in there. Then we have the volunteer staff. So we've got Navajo County Search and Rescue, the Navajo County Sheriff's Auxiliary Volunteers, and then the two sheriff's posses that are volunteer support, the White Mountain Sheriff's Posse and the Hash Knife Sheriff's Posse. So you start adding all that up, and that span of control is pretty large. We're very grateful for our volunteers.
So you're really managing 250, 300 people.
Right around 300 folks, yes, sir.
So I can see why there's more deputy chiefs than just you.
Yes, sir. Correct. There's a lot that goes on kind of behind the scenes and up front. The public sees typically the deputy sheriffs on a daily basis, but there's a lot more to the administration and the operations of the Sheriff's Office and public safety that we provide.
So I know that Chief Deputy Swanty, along with Sheriff Klaus, kind of manages the overall operation and looks ahead for changes. What are your responsibilities as the deputy chief?
So part of my responsibilities on a daily basis would be to manage our staff out in the field, our sworn deputies in patrol. So we obviously have the areas over near Winslow, Holbrook, Joseph City, in between around Snowflake, Heber, Pine Top, Lakeside, Show Low, all those areas that are unincorporated. Those areas are all patrolled by deputy sheriffs. And And through my experience, both as a deputy sheriff and a detective and a leader, it's my job to make sure that we are training our deputies, that they're responding to the calls in appropriate timings, that they are handling calls appropriately, the reports are thorough and the investigations are solid, and then we submit cases to your office for consideration of charging, and of course, when necessary, we arrest people and place them into jails and get them into the court system for adjudication of misconduct.
So you interacting on a daily basis with your newest law enforcement recruits all the way up to your lieutenants and sergeants? How was that working?
Well, I certainly try. You know, it's difficult when we have the geographical area that we're responsible for. I can't see everyone on a daily basis, but we do communicate pretty frequently. Obviously, we use email. But yes, I try to focus especially on our supervisors, our line level supervisors, our sergeants, because they're the leaders of mentoring our young deputies. And then we also track our deputies' performance, and I try to interact. I try to go out on patrol probably at least twice a month. Even Chief Swanee, we try to be seen. We go out on patrol, both of us do. We answer calls for service. We make traffic stops. And we work side by side with our deputies, and we watch. That gives us a great opportunity to see where they're performing, you know, what things we can do to provide them tools to be successful in their jobs.
You both come from very large agencies. You know, you with the Department of Public Safety, and then you had the Maricopa County Sheriff's Office, both with thousands of employees and sworn law enforcement officers. How were those cultures that you guys came from different than Navajo County Sheriff Department, in the region is a large agency, but compared to your roots, small?
You're absolutely right, Brad, and probably the biggest thing that I've seen as far as a difference from a big agency to, and we're a relatively large agency, but in the grand scheme, a small agency, it's the support staff, to take on projects. If we want to reevaluate a policy, that's hands-on. That's either Bruce or myself or a lieutenant revisiting a policy. And also staff from your office as well reviewing it, where at the Department of Public Safety there was a whole section called Research and Planning that they would take input from the field, and then they would draft a policy, or you know, investigations that come up. You know, we have our detective staff is a sergeant and 3 detectives, and it's not large enough for the types of investigations that are here. You know, from sex crimes to burglaries to victim crimes. You know, where at the Department of Public Safety, they had a very robust criminal investigations unit. And same thing with Maricopa County Sheriff's Office. So we probably are ready for some growth, quite frankly, and to build in some of that support staff and some of those investigative measures that we could probably use here.
Yeah, for me, I was very fortunate. I came from a sheriff's office, much larger. You know, the numbers of employees were upwards of 3,000 plus if you counted our detention administration staff and sworn. So like Chief Swanee, we had a lot of opportunity, a lot of help to reach out and get more help or resources from people who could specialize in particular fields. Some things like my personal background, I think I've spent a total of about 22 years of my career in criminal investigations. I've focused on financial crimes and homicide. But here in Navajo County, our officers and our deputies and detectives are compelled to be an ace of all things. Don't have that luxury of becoming a really focused detective in any one field, because they're responsible for so many different types of crimes and having to investigate those. So here, I believe we rely very heavily on our patrol deputies, and we rely on working with our other local agencies, such as the Homicide Task Force that, if I recall right, you helped institute and create.
That was one of the first things I did when I became county attorney, because I saw that each agency didn't have enough resources, but all of us combined did. Mm-hmm. So we need to grow, but yet we're not financially able to grow. And the other difference besides the scale is the resources that our county has compared to Maricopa County or Pima or Pinal. So what can you bring, or have you brought from your backgrounds to help bridge the gap for our Navajo County Sheriff's Department, because we have to provide the same services as these other agencies that have so much more money than us?
I think the key where we're at right now is just as you said, we're small. You know, Shola Police Department is small. Snowflake, such and such, all the way around the county is developing, fostering these relationships, and where we can back one another up. And that's one thing even when I was at DPS, I bragged about on how the agencies in Navajo County work together, and being at DPS, being a part of that team, and now here at the Sheriff's Office, that I see that even more. You know, where I can pick up the phone and call, you know, Chief Martin at Snowflake PD or Chief Christensen at Holbrook, and we immediately have partnerships where they can provide resources, we provide resources to address an incident, whatever it may be. So that's the first part. The homicide task force, phenomenal concept. It's worked well over the years. Another thing is the regional tactical team. You know, it's really the only high-risk team in this region of the state. You know, DPS provides a statewide response, but they're typically 3 to 4 hours out at times. So we have that, you know, and each agency commits personnel and funding and whatnot to that. DUI task force, you know, that's a task force that's very near and dear to my heart, and that's still active and running. We were going over the results just before we came here to this meeting over the weekend. And so
that was the past Labor Day.
For Labor Day, yes, sir. And so the partnerships that we have here in Navajo County are truly a model for others. And I can tell you from my previous agency working around northern Arizona, we're the leader here. There's no doubt when it comes to those partnerships and interagency operability, no doubt.
But you still have to grow from there.
Yes.
Well, I think one of the other things, if I may, that we bring to the table is between the two of us alone, there's nearly 60 years of experience, and both of us have a lot of networking abilities. We know individuals throughout the state of Arizona. Plus, we have our own training backgrounds, and both of us as general instructors can bring that training, that experience, that knowledge, and share that with our troops, our deputies, to get them the abilities and the skills necessary to do good interviews and do good investigations and do good DUIs, everything from the beginning to the end, because we've lived it, we've worked it. So that helps also.
I know one of the things I did hear as a county attorney when you worked for me was other law enforcement agencies saying, you know, say thanks to Bruce because he was able to reach out to his contacts throughout the state to get us assistance in a specialty that we don't have in Northeast Arizona.
Right.
And I know that you still have that to bring to all the agencies up here. But what are some of the changes that you guys are trying to bring on, and Sheriff Klaus is trying to bring on, to continue to move the Sheriff's Department and law enforcement as a whole in the area forward?
So the one thing I was gonna talk about real quick, because he's got a whole laundry list of things as well, but we've just recently implemented the TRAX system.
What is TRAX?
So TRAX, I can't tell you what the acronym stands for, but I can tell you what the program is.
I hear about hiking trails and ATV trails for TRAX.
It's not that. No, it's not that. It's a software-based program that's inside the patrol cars. And the deputies can take a driver's license, scan the driver's license, scan the vehicle registration. It auto-populates into the software, and they can do traffic collision investigation, e-citations, e-warnings, and it's all automated, a paperless system, and
minimizes typing errors.
Yes, exactly. A lot of clerical errors are now removed, but most importantly is with ADOT and tracking traffic collisions statewide, not just on state highways. They track them statewide on county roads and city streets. As soon as that report is put into that software, and a sergeant signs off on it or approves it, that report then goes directly to ADOT for crash statistical reporting, which is very, very crucial for ADOT. ADOT has provided the software to law enforcement agencies for free. They provide the software. We have to provide the computer and the hardware that goes along with it, the scanner, the printer. Fortunately, before Bruce and I started at the Sheriff's Office, they were on a program of building their computer base for the cars to implement the in-car computers with the CAD system and what have you. So we had computers that were already compatible with the software, which was a big win. But the sheriff and I went and met with Director Alberto Gutierrez with the Governor's Office of Highway Safety and explained to him what we were trying to do, and he has provided some financial support to the Sheriff's Office for the purchase of the in-car printers and scanners and the stands to mount some of the
So
equipment.
more and more of the paperwork that a law enforcement officer would generate from the Arizona citation forms are also in the system and not just the accident reports?
Correct. The traffic citation, it comes basic with traffic citations and crash reports. Now the agency, we can go in and build whatever other forms we want in there, tow sheets, and they could do alarm calls and whatever stat sheets that the deputies use day in and day out. We can build a mask and build them into that software program, and it just really saves a lot of time.
So is this track software program interface well with your Spillman database system?
Yes. So they are two separate standalone programs, and there's a module that we do have to buy that links them. But the Department of Public Safety is on the same program. They have Spillman and they have Trax, and they just bought a module that crosses that over. We haven't purchased the module yet. That's something that we're looking for in the future. But right now, once Trax gets up and running, we'll have two databases, but ultimately they will bridge.
So besides providing the information on accidents, what other benefits do you see to your officers or to the public by using this Trax system?
Go
Sorry,
ahead.
Please. One of the things I've noticed from my own experience is we still handwrite tickets. Sometimes our handwriting, you're thinking about a multitude of things, your own safety, our driver's safety that we may stop, and we're trying to quickly pen out the old-fashioned way, a citation. I think these citations will be clearly legible, much easier to read and understand. So I think that's one benefit, plus the enhanced time, the efficiency of being able to just scan that driver's license, enter a violation code in, print out that traffic citation, gives us an opportunity to go back up and explain to the offender or the driver why we're issuing the citation, educate them about the safeties and reasons why we're taking enforcement action, explain to them the citation, where to appear in court, and so on. It'll all be legible in that quickly printed out, typewritten citation.
And just far more efficient as well. You literally on a minor fender bender crash, that deputy can go in and scan in all the information, fill in the blanks, write their short little narrative that relates to the incident, and draw a diagram. And a lot of times that can be done before they even leave the scene. While they're maybe waiting for a tow truck or they pull off the side of the road, they can literally have that report done in the car, where in years past, they'd have to, all the hard copies, the handwritten stuff, they'd go back to the office, get on a computer, make it legible, hand draw a diagram, and it's just a lot more time invested.
So they're back on the streets serving the public much
faster.
quicker.
Yes.
What other changes are you guys trying to help implement to move things forward?
Well, as I mentioned previously, my background included being an explorer, so I'm a major advocate for teen programs. I will tell you, my father passed when I was rather young. I would have probably easily headed down the wrong path had it not been for a deputy sheriff in Maricopa County who kind of took me under his wing, became my father figure, got me into the Explorer program, got me driven in this direction where I had a goal, I had motivations, I also had pride, I had reasons not to be out doing criminal damage or hanging with other juveniles doing misconduct or bad deeds, because I had a drive, I had that goal, and I think the sheriff and the chief share my vision of wanting to try to bring that same type of program here to Navajo County for our youth here. That's one of the things we'd like to do.
So when do you hope to get this out in public, and where do you hope to start it? We have a big geography. I don't think you can do it everywhere, or are you going to try to do it everywhere?
Well, it'll have to be a small bite program. We're going to start small and work our way to larger efforts. I don't know that we have everything written down or planned out yet, but it is one of our goals that we want to achieve. I would like to have at least one program up north in our what we call District 1 area, and one program down south. Is going to involve a lot more. We have legal concerns, making sure that we're doing the right thing, making sure that we're protecting our children. There's a lot of exposure that they're going to face. This is a law enforcement environment. It is a dangerous environment. We also want to make sure they're safe. So there are a lot of aspects that we have to look into, but that's one of the goals that we want to follow through with.
So when you get it up and running, and from your own experiences as an explorer, what type of things do kids get to do when they participate in the program?
Well, much like our SAV program, there would be a training program involved where they learn about law enforcement, learn about what it takes to do the job, learn about protecting our citizens. They would be involved in all sorts of community-based programs, like crime prevention style programs, which is also one of the things we want to do. We want to institute a specific crime prevention program. With technology today, there are so many things that we can do to educate our citizens to work together as a network to prevent crime in our neighborhoods. One of the big things, we can't be everywhere, so we have to rely upon our citizens to report information to us. Also, things like their home video systems where they're doing home surveillance. There are a lot of programs, I won't necessarily name them here, but there are various home surveillance programs that are uploaded to the cloud. They may choose to share data with us. I've seen a lot of incidents where for example, we had a vehicle accident that happened on a residential road. It was a serious accident, a fatality. We were able to go back, canvass the area, locate video surveillance, where we were actually able to get a video recording of the accident. So those types of things are really helpful for us, especially with burglaries and property crime, criminal damage. Being able to share and network that data with our residents, our homeowners associations, is valuable to me. It's valuable to us. But part of it is being able to go out to our homeowners associations, share the knowledge with them about these systems, and then ask for them to cooperate with us in sharing that data. We're not interested in what goes on inside their home. Obviously, we want to respect their privacy. However, things that happen outside, like the burglaries, the criminal damage reports, those are of value to us. So that's one of the things I would also like to try to institute with the chief and the sheriff here, who are also very supportive of trying to make that happen.
And we've got an abbreviated portion of that through our SAVs with the House Watch program and their routine patrols and whatnot. We just want to build upon that using technology. That's one of the missions of Sheriff Klaus, is to utilize technology to benefit the agency, to benefit the public safety efforts here in the county. So there's a lot of things out there. Like Bruce is talking about, he's a little more up to speed on some of that technology than I am. There's no doubt, but a lot of things that we can look at as far as moving forward and being progressive, towards crime prevention and getting that community, getting those neighborhoods to have direct contact with the deputy. In one of the previous shows, we discussed, a program we had quite a long time ago, a year or so ago, over in Heber, where we had some resident deputies over there, and the community over there knew exactly who those deputies were. They had their direct cell phone numbers, and they loved it. That deputy was due to some movement, he was transferred out, and the sheriff's office received all kinds of heartache from the community over there. They wanted their deputy back. and that's what we're wanting to drive towards, that where you have these resident deputies that are a resource to these communities and neighborhoods.
Involved with it, so there develops that relationship and the trust.
Yes,
exactly.
Which is sometimes kind of being challenged at the moment and for the last few years.
Even today, we're doing ice cream with a deputy in Heber, and that's something we've recently instituted to try to get our community to be able to associate our faces, our uniforms, get the children to get to know us. That, a lot of times it's very unfortunate, but they see us in the worst of circumstances. So we want them to see us in a more positive, happy environment where they can get to know us personally, become acquainted with us. So if they see us, it's more of a hello, how are you, versus I need to talk to you about your behavior today.
The Navajo County Sheriff's Office will not be doing any lip sync dances, though, I can promise you.
Oh, come on. That merges the technology on TikTok and other things I know nothing about.
You don't want me doing any lip sync dances, I promise you that.
You talked about the ice cream with the deputy in Heber Overguard. Are you doing this county-wide?
That is the plan. We're going to move from place to place. Businesses are cooperating with us and helping us out. Thankfully, our community is very supportive of our law enforcement. I think everyone's seen that, especially of late, and we're very appreciative of that. So yes, we would like to move from area to area and of course repeat it, but it's part of our effort to be present, be visible, and as I mentioned, attend homeowners associations or other gatherings where our community is meeting and discussing important issues. We want to participate in that discussion.
If a business wants to participate or a homeowners group wants you guys to come out, how would they go about contacting you? You don't want them dialing 911.
No.
Probably the fastest and easiest way is through our Facebook page. The Navajo County Sheriff's Office Facebook page. They can send a message. It goes right to our PIO, Miss Tori Gorman, and she's the one that coordinates a lot of these events. And she will receive both her, myself, and the sheriff will receive those messages, and she can reach right back out and start planning something like that. Absolutely. We did one in the first one we did here of late was in Joseph City, and it was ice cream with a deputy at Esther's Diner, and we enjoyed it. The deputies enjoyed it. Esther's Diner loved it. They want us to come back, and now we're trying it over in Heber. Actually, in Heber, it's not ice cream with a deputy. It's shortcake with a deputy at the Three Bears Cafe.
Dessert with a deputy,
yeah.
I guess. But it's nice. It gives us an opportunity to allow for the children to see our cars up close. Mm-hmm. We try to bring out some of our other kind of more appealing things. Zoltan, for example, mm-hmm. I think you've seen Zoltan's been working very hard lately. So we try to get Zoltan and Deputy Dietz out as handler. Just anything we can to show the community the tools we're kind enough to receive through the support of our community, and how we can work together to stop crime in our county.
And our time is up. It's gone quickly. Thank you for joining us this month for Shooting Straight with Brad and David, and please stay tuned for this month's Most Wanted.
Brianna Joel Lindsay, 28, has a valid and confirmed felony warrant for failure to appear on original charges of possession of narcotic drugs and possession of drug paraphernalia. Brianna's last known address was Sholo, Arizona. If you have any information of the whereabouts of Brianna, please call Navajo County Communications Center at 928-524-4050. Or to remain anonymous, please call WeTip at 1-800-78-CRIME.